Well, howdy, folks. How's it going today? I hope everyone's doing really good. Well, welcome back to, I don't even know what part this is now, but in any case, this is the Alvarez yairi I've been working on. We tried a neck reset, and the heel was broke previously. When I put the heat probes in, it loosened the dovetail, but it also loosened the glue joint from the previous break. So the top portion of the neck come out flawlessly, and the bottom part of the heel stayed in the guitar. And I tried to get it out, and I just didn't want to keep putting heat down in there on that neck block in fear of loosening that neck block up inside. I just don't think that would have been a fun project. So you have to make a decision at some point within your skill levels and whatnot, and just economically too. So what we ended up doing was sawing the portion of the heel off, flush to the guitar that was left in there. Then I sawed the part of the dovetail that came out with the neck, and I re-glued that back into the body as well. So with the neck off it basically looks like you did a kung fu neck reset, and just sawed the neck off flush to the body of the guitar. So when you do that, things change. So what can happen is you can even shorten the scale length by making this cut. And also remember, when you tip the neck backwards, like, if the guitar is sitting like it is with its back on the bench, if you tip the headstock towards the bench as well, you can even lengthen the scale length. So you have to be very careful about this. This is a 25-inch scale guitar too. So I had to kind of take a few measurements on some different guitars to make sure that I had the scale length right. I even put the original bridge back on and pinned it and took some measurements, and just to double check, which isn't a bad idea. Now, the bridge I had to make by hand. I couldn't find one that lined up the same with all 12 bridge pinholes, and the footprint, I did find one that the bridge pinholes were correct, but the footprint was smaller. And I made my bridge a little bit bigger here as far as the footprint goes. This is the original bridge, which is basically the size of a 6-string bridge. That's a lot of torque in a small area, so I figured if I made it a little bit bigger, that will spread the force out across the top of the guitar a little bit more, and it might keep it from humping up behind the bridge more. So there was quite a lot of dust and sanding and marking and sanding and checking and sanding, and you know how that goes. So I'm happy with the way it come out. The bridge looks very nice. The bridge pinholes line up great. The saddle slot is correct. The scale length is right on the money. I am going to make a new saddle out of white-tailed deer antler. I've already started on that. Really nice stuff, really hard. When you work with that stuff, it's, most bone is quite durable and dense. So what we've done is put an anchor in the heel. I drilled a hole through the neck block in the guitar, put a bolt through, and I lined everything up with a transfer punch to mark the heel and know where to put the anchor after I drilled the hole through the body. So that all lined up nice. One thing you do have to be careful of when you do this, when you put the neck back on, okay, and when you locate that hole, you need to make sure that the right where the heel meets the body and the fretboard extension starts to carry out over the top of the guitar, right there where the heel and the neck meet the body, that needs to be flush and touching the top. Now, sometimes if you get the bolt just off a little bit, you can skew that and have a gap under one side or the other. And that can be frustrating. You'll have to probably enlarge your hole in the neck block, or, if you haven't glued the anchor in, hopefully you get this all lined up correctly, because that can be a nightmare if you run into that sort of thing. That's something I'm very cautious of, and I learned that on my first bolt-on conversion, not by mistakes, but just by the procedure involved, and just being very meticulous about checking everything over. So what we're going to have is a couple shims under the fretboard here, the fretboard extension, I should say. Not a huge shim, but just enough to change the neck angle a little bit. Now, I've got my neck angle jig that I made out of a couple aluminum yardsticks. And what this does, it allows me to set the guitar, set the jig here on the fretboard, and I can actually run that right out to the bridge and see if my neck angle is correct. Now that is just clearing the front side of that bridge right there as it sits. So that's really perfect. I mean, maybe a 32nd of an inch, if that, which is good. I'm good with that. I've checked the deflection in the top as well, so I know that's going to all work. And I think the next thing to be done here is to attach the neck, which I'll do next, and let that dry and cure. The bridge was glued yesterday. I did take the go bars off it. That all looks good as well. I got a little bit more glue to clean up just around the very edges. Other than that, when I install this, I'll glue the fretboard extension down. I'm also going to put some glue behind the heel. Now, I know this is bolted, but where this has had a heel break, I want to make sure there's some glue in there. And I think that's just a good idea to help strengthen this, okay? And we did put a dowel through the heel as well. So I glued the heel back together and put it in the drill press, took the heel cap off, put a 3/8 dowel in there. I think it was 3/8, maybe 7/16. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But I did that to reinforce the heel as well. So I think with the dowel, the bolt, and glue in the face of this, that should definitely hold that. Now, I know you don't have to glue the heel if you're doing a bolt-on conversion, but it's really no different. If you have to remove this, even if you get a little glue on the bolt, you can stick a soldering iron in on that bolt, heat it up, take it out. You could pull the fret wire right at the body joint and do the same thing you'd do with a dovetail. Drive some heat probes down in the face of that and melt the glue. That should come right off. So it's not going to be like a permanent thing where it's going to screw the next guy over that tries to work on it. He'll know that it's bolted on because you can look inside and see the bolt, and you will see a glue joint where the heel meets the body as well. So it'll be pretty obvious what you'll have to do to remove it. Now, like I said, I think I'm at the point where I can set the neck on. My neck angle looks nice. I'm going to make sure everything is straight as well. Everything has checked out really nice so far. And like I said, the scale length looks very nice too. So I think we're in pretty good shape with this, which is a great thing for me. I've definitely put a lot of work into this guitar. This is probably the most complex repair I've done so far. Maybe not, I don't know, but it seems like it. I've definitely put a lot of hours into this guitar. And I've been taking my time, too. I want to add that. I mean, a lot of you guys can probably do this in an afternoon, but this is a very special guitar. Has a lot of sentimental value to the owner, and I just wanted to make sure that I did everything as smooth as I could and without any damage, and I have definitely completed that. So the hard part's done. As long as I don't drop the guitar on the floor, I think we're going to be in good shape, folks. Which I've never done. I've honestly never dropped a guitar by handling it. I've had them come off the guitar stands and had strap buttons and stuff come off, but never out of my hands. I guess it's just from handling so many guitars on a daily basis. I don't even really think about it much anymore. It's just something that I do. So, but you still need to be careful, especially when it's somebody else's prized possession. That's the thing. This stuff is so personal that I have to take this personal as well, and I really do. I mean, probably more than I should. A lot of guys will just bang the repair out, do a great job, and kick it out with no attachment at all. But I know what his attachment level is to this guitar, so I kind of got sucked in on that myself. And I know how great an Alvarez yairi guitar is. My dad gave me his 1978 six-string yairi that he bought brand new. And he chose that over a Martin D18 when he bought that. They were the same price. And that is one of the finest acoustic guitars I've ever held in my hand, hands down. I've played some pre-war Martins too, which were, every bit as good. Not all of them, but I did play a couple D18s that were pretty awesome. One of them in particular was very awesome. But that yairi holds its own. There's no question. And they're just well built and meticulously built as well. These were all built by hand. So, there's something about that too. I'm working on something that a master luthier built. And, I'm trying to do it justice, as I go. That's, it's a passion, I guess, is pretty much what we're getting at here. And I do have that passion for these things. And I just want to make sure they're done right and as good as I can possibly do it. So, without further ado, we're going to get some glue out here and get this neck secured. I think we're in good shape. The angle looks very nice. I'm very happy with the angle. Sometimes when you do a neck reset, and depending on your bridge height too. Now, I made this bridge, but I measured my yairi, 78 yairi, made it the exact same thickness, which that bridge had never been touched. And I also measured 3 or 4 other acoustics that I had just to check, and they were all basically the same thickness. So I went with it. And, if this bridge is high, if it's too thick, then your neck angle is going to have to change, which is going to lengthen the scale as well. And you're going to have a greater gap under the fretboard extension, which can look pretty cheesy and poorly done. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, though. So, I guess that's about all I can say. Surprising, right? Huh? But anyways, folks, we're really close. Once I get it glued back in and secured, I'm going to let this guitar sit for at least a week and, make sure everything cures solid. I know it only takes a few days in most cases, but again, I'm just going the extra distance with this, and it's not like I'm not going to have this guitar for another week or two. The owner is in no big rush to get it, and he probably won't be up to get it right off. So I did tell him I would like to have it for at least a week after I put strings on it too, just to make sure. And, that's how it goes. I like to hand this stuff back without any worries whatsoever. It's just the way I am, folks. All right, let's get going. Okay, well, she's time to glue the neck on here and bolt it in. So what we're going to do is take some fish glue. This is made by a company called Bench Q. They're out of Searsport, Maine. StewMac sells it too, but I try to use local when I can, and these guys are a little bit cheaper, so it's good stuff though. I've had this and used this a ton. It lasts a long time. It'll last up to a year if you keep it in the refrigerator. Alright, let's get going. Okay, so as I said before, I am going to glue the heel. You can see where my anchor's glued in into the heel itself, but I'm going to put a little glue here too. Just because this heel was broke previously. We did put a dowel down through it to reinforce it, but there's a lot going on there, so I want to get some glue in there just because. So here we go. Now, yeah, I know probably some will get on the bolt too, but if this ever has to come apart again, you could stick a soldering iron in there on that bolt, heat it up, and that will come right out. That's why I'm using fish glue too, because you can take stuff apart with it a lot easier than like epoxy or anything like that. So, not a big deal. It's just how I'm going to do this. Normally I probably wouldn't do this, but in this application I'm going to. Just because it's a 12 string and there is a ton of pull going on when you get this strung up. So just want to make sure we get it all covered. Okay, here we go. On with the neck. Okay, and we're going to stick the bolt right in too. Get that going. And the bolt should probably hold it, really. I'm not going to glue the fretboard extension down right now. I'm going to wait on that. And I'm going to make sure this gets glued in good and gets a good solid hold. And then I'll put the shims in under the fretboard extension. And then it's just a matter of waiting. We'll wait for a week or so. We'll put a set of strings on it. And hopefully we can make some beautiful noises with this. Okay, that takes care of that. On with the neck angle jig one more time just to check it. Looks good. Got a good amount of squeeze out and a nice tight fit there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I still need to just wipe the squeeze out that come out off the body and off the heel there, which is easy with fish glue. Just use some warm water and that'll come right off. Even after it's dry, if there's a thin layer, you can get that off. It comes off pretty good, actually. So again, I think we're in good shape. The fretboard extension, I'll put glue in there after the fact. And this should be good to go. We're going to have to put a couple shims under the fretboard extension too, don't forget. But it's not a huge shim, which is good. And I'm also going to clamp that down tight so there's actually a little slight fall away on the last few frets here. And this thing should be in good condition when we're done. Very happy with the way it come out. There's not a lot of stuff to touch up or anything like that. Again, this was a tough job. I mean, you know, when you cut the neck off a guitar and hope to get it back on correctly and straight and all that, it's no different than when they're building it. They have to do the same thing there. If they're doing it by hand, you know, they're fitting that dovetail, they're manipulating it with sandpaper and chisels, checking the fit, taking it off. You know, it's a repetitive thing that happens, but it's just the way this works. Unless you're doing it in a factory, which obviously we are not. Okay, folks, well, all we can do is let the glue dry. Like I said, I'm going to let this sit for at least a day here, and then I'll clamp the fretboard down and glue that maybe tomorrow. I'll let the guitar sit for at least a week, and then we'll put some strings on it and see what's going on. In the meantime, I'll be making a bone saddle out of deer antler for it, so I've got it almost to the right thickness already. The rest will be just, getting the height and squaring everything up. So we're gaining. This was a big hurdle right here. Was just, trying to get this stuff lined up and everything straight, which it looks really good right now. So I think we're going to be good here on this one. Finally, it's taken me a long time. Like I said, I've put a lot of work into this and a lot of time. And, it's just the way it had to be. I can't rush myself doing this kind of stuff. I don't think anybody should or really can. If you miss one step and you glue something together or drill a hole in someone's guitar, you're committed. So make sure you triple check your measurements and fitment and all that stuff when you do this. You just have to. It's a meticulous kind of job, but if you pay attention along the way and try not to backpedal and make a bunch of mistakes, it should go pretty easy, honestly. Again, if the heel hadn't been broke, I would have got that out of there easy. It's a dovetail. It's the next fret in, past the body joint. I even gave you guys a measurement, you repair guys out there, so if you are going to do a neck reset on an Alvarez, if you take that fret out and drill just like you would in a Martin, you will hit the back side of that dovetail for sure. Well, all right, folks. I'm sure you don't want to watch the glue dry, and I don't either, so I actually am going to look at something other than this guitar for a day or two, so all is well. Well, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, folks. I'm having a hard time speaking today, I guess, but I do appreciate it, and welcome to all the new subscribers, and thank you to all the original subscribers on this channel. You guys are the folks that keep me going. So thanks again. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you real soon. Be good. Okie doke.